You know, it's easy to say we believe in something, right? But how do you actually prove it? Well, today we're diving into a really powerful idea from his witness T. Alsent that claims the only real proof of what you revere is found in what you're willing to sacrifice. Let's get right into it.
And that brings us to the core question this source wants us to wrestle with. How is that deep, genuine reverence truly proven? I mean, is it enough to just say the right things, to confess your faith? Or does the real proof, the real evidence, lies somewhere else entirely?
So right away, the source sets up this major contrast. It's making an argument that when it comes to proving what you believe, there's a huge difference between what we say and what we actually do. It's all about tangible, concrete evidence.
And here's how stark that line is. On one side, you've got words and confession. The source basically says, nope, that's not enough. It's insufficient proof. But over on the other side, that's where you find obedience and sacrifice. And according to this text, those actions are the only true, undeniable evidence of what's in your heart.
Okay, so what is true reverence then? Well, the source gives us a very specific definition. It's proven at the exact moment when your heart is willing to let go of what it loves the most, simply because you've been commanded to. And think about that. This isn't about giving up something you don't really care about. We're talking about the ultimate cost.
And this is really the core of the whole argument right here in this quote. Reverence is proven when the heart releases what it loves at the command of God. Everything hinges on that single, profound act of letting go. But that's a pretty intense idea. What does a sacrifice like that, an ultimate sacrifice, what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, the source provides a powerful case study, and it all comes down to the idea of willingness.
And that case study is the story of Abraham. The source uses this ancient narrative to take the idea from something abstract and philosophical and turn it into a gut-wrenching human drama. It shows us exactly what this kind of proof looks like in action.
So this brings us to what the source calls the Abraham test. We're going to break down his actions step by step to really see how they become the ultimate evidence of his reverence.
So the test really unfolds in 4 key stages. First, you have the command, the absolutely unthinkable command to sacrifice his son Isaac. Then comes the willingness, and the source really stresses this part. It says Abraham's reverence was actually proven right there, in his immediate preparation, long before he even got to the mountain. Step 3 is the altar, the physical act of laying his entire promise on the line. And finally, you get the proof. The action itself becomes the undeniable evidence.
So let's just recap the big takeaways from the story. First, his reverence wasn't just some idea in his head, it was revealed through his willingness to act. Second, the physical act of putting his son on that altar, that was the tangible proof. And finally, by doing this, he was essentially taking God's own promise, the promise that Isaac represented, and entrusting it right back into God's hands.
Okay, so let's zoom out a little from the story of Abraham and get back to that central argument. Now that we've seen this principle in action, what's the core takeaway we're supposed to get from all this?
When you boil it all down, the crucial point the source is making is this. The truest, most authentic test of your belief isn't about what you're willing to say, it's about what you are willing to give up. The undeniable proof is found in what you are prepared to release from your heart.
And so, this explainer leaves us with a really challenging, really personal question to think about. If action, not words, is the true standard, then what is the ultimate proof of your belief?